Coming to you from sunny California and the Great White North. Get ready. We are breaking down the obstacles on the Armchair Ninja Podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Armchair Ninja Podcast. It is Thursday, October 20th, 2016. My name is Rich, and joining me in this special boot camp episode is Bijan. How you making out?
Doing good, man. What's up?
Not much. It's a good week. We got lots to talk about this week. We've got ANW2 Boot Camp. Finally, been waiting weeks for this opportunity, so now we get to cover it.
Oh, I'm ready.
And we've got a National Ninja League update. There's actually two of them out, so we'll just do one this week, and we'll do the Gravity Forge competition. And we're going to take a look at College Ninja Warrior, the Florida versus Georgia matchup, and how that's looking.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Yeah, let's get into it, because I need to talk about this boot camp series. But more thing, I need to know what your opinion is. Let me hear it.
All right, so let's get into it. The boot camp. I freaking love the boot camp. I was expecting to hate it.
I knew you were going to say that.
I was expecting to hate it the way you were going on about it. I thought it was going to be terrible, stupid, and just ridiculous. It is like...
I had a feeling you'd like it.
It's like Ninja Warrior Survivor. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. It's awful. But I knew you'd love it because I knew it's all like Survivor.
It is. Yeah, it's such a blatant ripoff.
It's quite polarizing. When this came out, it was very polarizing, dividing to the audience. Some people liked it, like you know. It's got a reality show hint to it or tinge to it, you know. But I don't know. At the same time, you have to remember, this wasn't just you can watch them back to back. Like, you had to wait a week between these episodes. Although I think these two ran back to back, but traditionally they ran every other week, you know. And it's hard to stay motivated when it's going at such a slow pace week to week.
See, I don't agree with that at all. I think it would... I can see where they stopped. I mean, just the fact that they could potentially get sued over stealing so much from Survivor, like including the soundtrack. Everything about it was so heavily Survivor influenced. Even burning the little warrior tags. But I loved it. I thought it was great. I wouldn't want it to replace what's currently there. But I see what they were going for, and I kind of liked it. I would love to see it now. I would love to see give me another ANW, and this time I want to see a competition between our favorite ninjas in this like weird team-based, voting people off almost kind of situation. I loved it. I thought it was really cool.
Oh, geez. No, thank you. But this is what I like, that we had different dynamic. I had a feeling you would like this. So, most importantly, I want to know... Hang on. What the hell is this? Sorry, Rich. Randomly, somebody from 626 is calling me, and why is my phone not on silent?
Failed.
Stupid phone.
You're going to be voted off. Voted off the podcast.
Dude, just send me on my way. All right. So, back to the show. It's a great dynamic that we both have differing opinions. One thing is that I enjoy... It's hard for me because I enjoy the reality show aspects. I appreciate it, right? It's cool. It's interesting. If you're actually interested on the competitors on the show, and there are some where I'm just like, I don't know you, I don't care about you. But there are some that you definitely, care about, like, David Campbell and the names that we all know. Obviously, I want them to do well. But at the same time, man, I'm just like, these guys killed themselves to get here. Just let them all go to Ninja Warrior or Sasuke. At the same time, I understand when they get that far and they make it to Sasuke, it's like a bigger deal. So I have differing opinions on it, but overall, I just don't like it. It's just too slow, too different from American Ninja Warrior. It's not the show that I've come to love. So I very much have just a differential view of it, and I don't know, looking back, I feel like some people have soured to it more than it actually was at the time. But, yeah, it's very much controversial or, polarizing.
Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see it not being up everyone's alley. If you're looking for a lot of different obstacles, it's definitely not going to be for you because it's very... there's not very many obstacles per episode. I feel like we're kind of jumping ahead a little bit for those that haven't watched it. So just to set this up, here's what we're actually looking at. So boot camp, we've got 15 people left. They split them into 3 teams. They were right off the bat, kind of threw me off. So 3 teams of 5. They have the Red Dragons, the White Tigers, and the Blue Monkeys. And only one person can potentially win the $250,000 grand prize, just as before. And I kind of clued in. It was a little confusing at first, but I realized that they're talking about if someone is one of the 10 that goes to Sasuke and actually completes the course there, right? That's what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm. They fly to Japan and compete on, Sasuke.
Right. Which, of course, has been the case all along, but I guess they're kind of making more of a thing about it now with it narrowing down. Mm-hmm. And it's just Matt hosting now. The other guy is gone.
Fine with me. You're not going to hear me complain. They want to make it very much like Survivor. Anybody that's listening, in this description, you're going to hear many, many callbacks to Survivor.
Yeah, so the top 3 from the qualifying rounds were the team captains, I guess you want to call them that. So you had Levi Muhlenberg was... Oh, sorry. First place was actually Travis Furlonic. He was the Red Dragon. Then Levi Muhlenberg for White Tiger, and Adam Truesdell was the Blue Monkey. So they started drawing all the names out of the bag. I thought it was going to be like a schoolyard pick where they could... Which would have seemed to make more sense, but...
It would have been better that way, right?
Yeah, it was just random drawing. So first drawing is Travis actually pulls his uncle David Campbell's name out of the bag, which was kind of funny. He ends up with Brent Stephenson and Paul Casimir. So, several of the names that I knew were right on the Red Dragon, so that was kind of cool. When they started pulling names for the white team, everybody was kind of like laughing and rolling their eyes because I guess the white team was very... stacked, it had the most experience.
OP. Yeah. It was definitely at that point a lot of the higher up names synonymous with the American Ninja Warrior sport, and you have Rich King, you have Levi Muhlenberg, you've got like just a bunch of people that a very well-rounded team. And the last team, oh boy.
And the last team, see, what's funny is because with my modern perspective on it, I didn't think the blue team was at a disadvantage, right? They had Brian Orozco, they had Evan Dollard, seemed like pretty solid guys, but everybody's kind of not really laughing at them, but they definitely were the underdogs, or set up as the underdogs right from the beginning.
Yeah.
So then we get into the first challenge, and I had no idea what the format of this is going to be, so I'm just kind of learning as we go along. We get the pressure challenge, so one member from each team is going to have to represent the team. And all they get is like an idea of what is going to be tested. So they're told to go back to their army barracks, it looked like.
Hang on, we need to talk about these army barracks because it's ridiculous. Like, it's basically some like lame, like half-made shed with a bunch of just like bunk beds in there, and they're trying way too hard with this boot camp theme. It's ridiculous. I have to guess that they didn't actually sleep in there, because if they did, oy vey.
I don't see why not. I mean, it's legitimate sleeping quarters, right? Somebody sleeps there. It's not like it's that much of a hardship to sleep there. It's sheltered. I literally think what happened here, why they went with the whole boot camp theme, is they needed an obstacle course. The military has obstacle courses in place already. I'm sure it wasn't exactly like this, but they could reuse some of it. And
this looks like it was filmed at the YMCA campground. This did not look like a military base. Get out of here, man. There was no way this was an actual military base.
Who knows? Whatever. So
I'm not going to do the research on that one.
I'm not looking that up. So if you were there, Brian Orozco, if you're listening, somebody wants to clue us in, that would be great. But it was, I don't know. I didn't think it was that far-fetched to say that it was being reused in that way. And anyway, so in this case, they had to go back and decide. They had an upper body and grip strength focused challenge. So each team picked somebody to go compete, and there would be punishment for the team that loses. And they weren't really told what the punishment would be, but it was funny that they're all going back to decide and trying to figure out who has the best strengths. And when it comes to the blue team, it just kind of hangs there as like, so who's good at this? And nobody pipes up. Like, that's not a good sign at all.
Yeah. I will say this though: the strength of of these episodes of the boot camp show is the obstacle course. Like when they actually get on these obstacles and compete, that's when the show actually comes to life. But this kind of like side drama that they try to make between these competitors that aren't TV personalities. Like some of these people just don't know how to act and to create drama or good TV in this sense. It's hard to stay positioned with it, but with the blue team, they did have some fun moments like that where they're just like, I'm not strong in the upper body and stuff. But let's get into this competition because that's where it actually kind of was cool, right?
It was okay. I actually didn't care for the pressure challenges in both episodes. I wasn't that taken by it. I thought it was kind of a weird concept, and I would rather see something more team-based, right? You're going to punish the whole team for one person. I don't know. I wasn't really sold on it, but it was better than you said all of the drama leading up to it, I guess. So it was. It's better
than like just I don't know some of these guys with the way they talked and everything. I just
well, here's the thing,
bruh, man, you got to go like this and you got to talk like this the whole damn time, like. Oh, that was dope! Like the tubular, way you just got to go up that pipe, and. I don't know, like they all talk like that, and I was just like, oh.
Well, here's the thing. So the competition at that point was definitely more focused on the athleticism, right? It still is to an extent, but they're looking for stories, right? They have 70,000 plus people to choose from. They're looking for people that do have camera presence. They're able to kind of weed out people without that now so that it is both a reality show and a physical competition, right? So it's not a pure Survivor, Big Brother situation now, but it was even less.
More importantly, though, but when you think about it, when you get down to the nitty gritty of like the top people in the sport, if they kept this format, I don't know if we would get like the Jesse Graffs and the Casey Catanzaros and the Kevin Bowles and people that have like busy lives outside of. American Ninja Warrior. I don't know if we'd be able to get those types of people to commit to like a boot camp episode. So I'm glad they evolved from this, right? But I definitely understand what you're saying with the presence that they can choose from people. That is pretty dope that they have that option nowadays.
Yeah, it actually would have really changed everything when you think about it. As you said, like if the timeline wasn't as condensed as it is now. You would have more everyday people, wouldn't you? You'd have more of the original concept of people that, just have regular jobs, even more so than the ones that are already competing. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
That is an interesting philosophy, though, right? I mean, it's a double-edged sword because we get a higher level of competition nowadays, but that's because they're actually like a lot of them are like high-end athletes. But at the same time, it's going against the main feel for old school Sasuke, which is like the average Joe, kind of like the show. We are way off topic, by the way. So let's get
a little bit. I mean, it's a little bit. We're not going to go through every little detail, right? So we're
good point. So you didn't like both of the competitions at the at the beginning of the episodes, right? These pressure challenges. I understand what you mean, but at the same time, I actually kind of appreciated them just because the few athletes that we did get to see featured in these competitions, we got a feel for their strengths and if they are as good as they think they are with these particular strengths. I mean, it became very clear that for the first one, both competitors did well. And actually, I forget the guy's name, but the guy from the Blue Dragons, I was actually very nervous about it. He showed a lot of goodwill and heart. So, it kind of amped up, for me as a viewer, it gave me a lot of respect for him. At the same time, David Campbell, somebody that was, just for a good drama aspect, David Campbell went into these ropes very, very confident, and he got tied up quite a bit, being confused with it. So you get some drama from these things,
right? Because the blue team guy, Dorian, his name was, did it in half the time. Actually completed it, and David and Rich, who were expected to do really well. Actually both failed the course. They were actually doing like a jungle rope swing from a tree, which seemed ridiculously easy compared to the modern day course. But again, it's just perspective, I guess.
Oh yeah.
But the punishment I guess I didn't have so much problem with the individual thing, but then the punishment, they go collect water for the other teams from the other side of the compound just seemed so contrived. It was just, they're not going to drink this water you're bringing back, this dirty, gross water you're dragging back.
It's dumb. I mean, the main gist is that the other two teams get to train on the course while the other team is doing something else. It's whatever.
Yeah, which seemed like a really big advantage at first, but it almost looks like it ended up being a disadvantage somehow. Do you think maybe they wore themselves out practicing on them? I'm trying to figure out what it would be. Do you think maybe they over-practiced and wore themselves out some?
I think they got very lax, and the other team that didn't train, I mean, we're kind of jumping the gun with saying it, but the team that didn't train, they kind of had to put it on high gear. They felt the pressure where maybe the other two teams came in a little too overconfident or too lax.
Yeah, I feel like we're kind of going into more detail than we intended here.
Yeah, basically in the end, right, guys, we have this competition, kind of like a relay, and all the teams go through a relay of various things. I mean, the first one, I think, was, a cliffhanger to something else, and to a warped wall. Yeah. And it was cool and all, but I don't know. It just didn't have the drama impact because we're only getting 2 obstacles. That's the problem with these boot camp things. The thing that you fall in love with from Sasuke are all these creative obstacles and all these competitors doing it. But all we're getting is a few competitors doing very minimalistic, obstacles. And I don't know. For me, that's the main killer, other than just the very lame drama.
Yeah, I mean, I liked the relay. I liked the whole... this part of it, the relay race, when you get the total team times, and they had penalties if they failed the obstacles. They were carrying rocks. Like, one of them was 100-pound rock that they had to carry with them as they went through the course. There was like a 20, 40, 60, 80, and 100. So depending on the strength of your team, you'd have different members carry different size rocks. So the strategy behind that and what order they ran, I thought that was all pretty good. I didn't think they focused enough on that, maybe. Mm-hmm. But overall, I liked it. I was interested in the fact that it was a 17-foot warped wall instead of a 14-foot one. That's kind of a big difference.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have much to say about that.
It's like 3 feet difference, man. Like they said it's the same as in Sasuke. Did I miss that? Was it 17 feet normally? I know the one in Vegas is actually higher than the one they do in the qualifying rounds typically, but I didn't think it was that much more.
Yeah, I mean, you have to remember, this is just the second season, so they're probably just weeding out. I mean, they had to lower the difficulty on the main course, so I definitely understand that. And then when they get to the nitty-gritty, they have to prepare these guys for Japan, so it makes sense that a lot of these obstacles are, almost parallel to the difficulty of Japan.
Yeah, it does.
But yeah, I didn't know I guess they nerfed it that much in the qualifying rounds. If anything, it wasn't that they added this difficulty. It's more like they nerfed the qualifying rounds of the warped wall to 14 feet. So what competitors kind of stood out to you in this competition?
I don't know that anybody really stood out so much on the first episode. Brent, I guess, but I don't know if that's my personal bias because it just felt like I saw more of Brent in these 2 episodes than I've seen in the last few seasons of ANW, right? Like, he has a lot more personality than everybody else. He seems to really stand out from the crowd and does really well in everything that's going on. Yeah,
makes sense. And during this time, Brent was considered higher tier. I mean, remember, Brent got his claim to fame just a few seasons after this.
Yeah, Brent was like the rookie in this episodes, right? Like, he's not being looked upon as the veteran. He's the new guy.
Yeah, all of them are, man. David Campbell is the youngin. Well, he's still the old guy, but he's still considered a youngin. At this point.
Well, everybody's looking to. They keep referencing that it's been 4 or 5 seasons, which is kind of funny when you. Mm-hmm. Which I assume was an American Ninja Challenge that came before American Ninja
exactly.
Warrior? Yeah.
And let's not cover those. Those are we can cover maybe one, but I don't need to cover every single American Ninja Challenge.
Yeah. But yeah, what about you? Was there anybody that you forgot about that was featured a lot? Anybody that you were happy to see more of?
Oh, Rich King, definitely. I was like, oh, Rich King, yeah, that dude's really good. I always love seeing Levi Muenberg. He's awesome. I'm curious, what's your opinion on Patrick? I think his last name is Cusack or something like that.
Oh, he's the young...
He's a young gymnast, and he was up for elimination in the second episode.
Yeah, he's like a super fan, it seemed, if I remember correctly, from the earlier ones. I like him. He seems really good. I kind of wonder what happened to him.
Okay.
I say that, and then I was really disappointed in the second episode, and we want to get into that now. We'll kind of clarify what happened. So they do the relay, and then the team with the lowest number, or the worst time, has to nominate 2 people to climb call them heavenly ropes. It's a rope climb.
It's a rope climb.
Between 2 people.
Man, what do you think about the team having to choose? I do not like this. I wish it was just more cut and dry, but how do you feel?
No, I thought it made sense. I thought it was a good way to do it.
Ugh. I feel like they're trying to add drama elements where it doesn't need to be there. I think if it was more cut and dry of like the 2 team members that did the worst, just go up for elimination, I feel like that's easier to do.
It is, but the team should be able to easily come up with that on their own. I really take issue. We'll get into the second episode with how that went down, but in this one, the 2 people that did the worst said, "Yeah, like I didn't do as well as you guys. I'll climb the rope." So
it's because the team was smart.
Yeah,
I don't know. The more episodes we get into this, the more I think your opinion might change on this dynamic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just appreciating it for what it was at the time. I wouldn't want something like this now, but taking this reality show route, to me, that made sense. That was a good choice to try to stir up some drama and some choice and some conflict.
Did it work? Did you feel the drama?
Not really. No, it didn't really work. But I guess it kind of failed.
Okay, so what's going on in episode 2 that you want to talk about?
Okay, so second episode, more of the same. This time they did.
By the way, just some guy from the White Tigers gets eliminated in episode 1. I don't know his name. Like that's the problem. I think with these is that you just at this point you're just not invested enough into these guys. But I understand that the whole point of this is so slowly you can't get invested. So I can't really knock them for that. But go ahead, Rich.
Yeah. So in the next episode, it was more of the same. This time it was a core body strength challenge for the pressure challenge, and they all seemed to immediately figure it was going to be a flag. Like, would that be your first instinct when they said it was going to be core strength that they were testing?
Yeah, I definitely thought it would be something in the form of holding a flag pose, because that is a very common gymnastics pose. I don't know. It would be something. If it's not a flag, it's definitely something where you're holding a position and just taking endurance of holding your core and testing it, right? So, yeah, flag, they could pretty much figure that out.
I don't know, it just seemed like an odd choice to me. Like, I wasn't a big fan of it because they can't really judge. They can say, your foot can't touch the wall or it can't touch the ground, but, I mean, the flag just was really sad pretty quickly. Like, they would just kind of fall and just be dangling, trying to keep their feet from touching the wall, especially the first guy.
It's definitely a pose that if you don't know how to master it, man, it's not easy. And you can definitely tell Brent Stephenson knows how to hold the flag pose. But the other guys, they're just like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly. He killed it, but that's just like a unique. To me, that's not just testing core strength. That's testing a very specific skill.
Yeah. But not just that, I found it incredibly amusing that the gymnastics guy just epically failed at it.
Oh, that was really, really sad. So Patrick from the blue team, he was the youngest guy. His first 2 attempts were really short, and it looked, because they had 3 attempts to kind of get himself into position, and his third was just under 3 seconds, whereas Brent's was 45 seconds and Adams was 35 seconds. So it was really, really cringeworthy.
Mm-hmm.
So then they had to do punishment, moving hay bales, and one guy was allergic to hay. So you get all the typical reality show stuff going.
Just so dumb. That's the problem, though. It's bad reality shows. It's not good. It's really bad. Trying to make it funny, like a team goes to the bathroom to talk about, like they all go to the bathroom stalls to take go number 2, and they're trying to talk about strategy while in there. And I'm just like, this is just dumb.
Yeah, we skipped over that from the first. Like, that was the dumbest thing. I have no idea why they would even. Do you think it was just for comedy purposes? Is that what's supposed to be?
Well, yeah, they wanted to make good TV, but man, it was just cringeworthy. Like, it was. There is some stuff where it is so forced, and you're just like, dude, this is bad. And that's definitely one of them.
That was so forced. I didn't even get that it was supposed to be a joke. I just thought, like, all right, I guess they wanted privacy, so I couldn't figure out why they went there. But yeah, they did other obstacles this time. They did a balance tank, which is like balancing on like a rolling barrel, and a slider jump, which is basically the pipe slider into a cargo net.
Very lame.
Yeah, they flew through them. Like, it did not look like it was giving them any trouble, either one of them.
Well, somebody had trouble with it.
Yeah.
And what's that name, Rich? Because it seems like it's becoming a theme with this guy.
Where'd we go?
His name is Patrick. So everybody that competed in this, even the people that failed and, had to get time stacked on them, they still finished both obstacles and everything with a time under 2 minutes. It was usually 1 minute and something seconds and everything. Patrick, he finished, and he completed both, but he was going so slow. I believe he finished in over 3 minutes. And because of that, let's see. Just about 3 minutes. 2 minutes, 48 seconds. Way longer than most competitors. And, it really became a detriment to his team because of that.
So, yeah, I forgot Patrick had really struggled and ended up coming with a really bad time, now that you mention it. I honestly, most of my notes are around Shane running twice and just killing it on both runs. Man, he did awesome.
Yeah, man. This is very much an endurance-heavy course with the two obstacles that they have. It's very endurance heavy. So somebody like Shane that probably is good with breathing. Also, I think Levi Muenberg would have done well as well. They both have the endurance to do this type of obstacle.
Yeah, so the reason somebody, because somebody had been voted off one of the teams, one of the team members had to go twice, so a guy named Shane did it twice and did an amazing job. And Brent looked like he had rocket boots on the way he went through it all. At a crazy fast time. So it was entertaining. It was like it was a shorter course than we would be used to, right? It's only a couple obstacles, but watching them...
It's 2 obstacles.
Yeah.
Well, I guess if you count the little rope that you go down on the end, it's 3, but I don't really consider that.
Yeah, and carrying they had like a yoke with a 90-pound thing on it. It's almost like an obstacle you carry with you. So it was... I appreciate it. I kind of like the little relay here.
I would like it more if it at least had one more obstacle. I feel like it's just missing that extra obstacle to make it like... I think the big problem is that they have a struggle, but it's not that incredible, like, defining struggle where they're really pushing through the pain and create a lot of drama. I think it's just missing that one aspect.
Yeah. So they added that in because Brent was named the Ninja Knockout Performance of the Day after the commercial.
I did not notice that.
Yeah.
Really? They have like a little Palm Wonderful thing, huh?
They did. Yeah, it's... poorly named, but better than Palm Wonderful because it doesn't spoil anything.
I guess. That's... I can't believe I didn't notice that.
Yeah,
that was ridiculous and fun at the same time.
The Ninja Knockout Performance of the Day. This is the part that really threw me off. So, again, the slowest team has to pick somebody to leave. Patrick, who struggled, volunteered to go where it's bad, and he suggested Evan be safe since he hadn't failed anything. So then Dorian was kind of pointing towards Adam. Adam's pointing towards Dorian. And so that left Brian and Roscoe of the 3 left. And he says, like, hey, well, you guys picked each other, and obviously I'm not going to vote for myself. So it seemed to be implying that he was going to be the deciding vote. But instead of that, they go to the final thing and go, yeah, we can't decide. So it goes to another team to choose who the second person going up the rope is. That is crazy.
I mean, it made sense to me. At this time, remember, this is NBC that owns this show. And at the time, the most popular reality show on NBC was The Biggest Loser. And Biggest Loser has the same rule, where if a team can't decide, they have the other teams decide for them.
Really? That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, at all. I mean, The Biggest Loser is a lot more competitive than this ended up being between the teams, because you think they'd pick, like, their best member to go up instead of actually try to fairly pick the slowest?
Yeah, I think the problem is that at the end of the day, they're all going to come back to become Team America, right? So it's like, do you really want to make enemies of people that are going to be your allies?
That's a good point.
Yeah, and that's the other problem with this reality show is like they're all friends. They're all like the whole thing about Sasuke is it's everybody against this course. It shouldn't really be about competing against each other. It's the whole. Oh, I don't want to get into it. Like, yeah, I don't want to go into last year's drama, but it's like that, you know. So, yeah, they could have gone that route and be like, oh, Brian Orozco is gonna be against Patrick, but I understand they wanted to go the route of being like, hey, let's stay true to it and just choose a guy that had the worst performance.
Yeah. So they chose Dorian, and I was absolutely stunned because I did not see this coming.
You didn't see Dorian being chosen?
No, what I didn't see...
I thought Dorian for sure was going to be the guy.
Yeah, no, that made sense. I think that was a fair choice, and even he said in his little sidebar, like, yeah, that made sense. He wasn't arguing against it. Mm-hmm. But they start doing the rope climb, and it hadn't even crossed my mind that they wouldn't be able to complete it. Like, that was absolutely unexpected.
What a hot mess, dude.
It was.
Why don't you describe this rope climb challenge that these two went through? Because my brain was about to explode watching them do this.
Yeah, so the two of them, they do it at the same time. It's not like a timed, who has a better time. They both lift off the ground at the same time, start climbing, and it cuts to Patrick, who is just giving up. He's just stops on the rope and looking down at them like, yeah, this is all I got. Like he was done. And then it goes back to Dorian, who still seemed to be climbing, but they just kept taking turns, stopping and going a little further, stopping a little, and then they just both failed at roughly the same point. How far up would you say they were? Like 80% of the way?
They were not far from finishing. That was the hardest part, is they were just a few more feet. But I can't complain as much because as a guy that's done rope climbs, I mean, that is not easy. But dude, like, I don't know. You're on a competition like this and you're forced ninja warrior. Like, you should know how to climb a rope.
Yeah, it could have been, accumulation of all the day's activities, maybe. I don't know, but it doesn't bode well for Sasuke if you can't do the rope climb to stay in this competition.
Mm-hmm. And it was really like Patrick stopped halfway and Dorian kept going, and Dorian got really, really close, but then Dorian just completely just stopped. And Patrick got a second wind and at least got a little bit further up than Dorian. Yeah,
so Patrick ended up staying. Dorian went home. I found the whole eviction process awkward as all heck. Like all right, it's time for you to go home. And then that's it. They all just kind of shake hands at like the ceremony of the snuffing out the torch or burning the stupid warrior tags that they had. Like it lost something. Like, because it's just Matt looking at them going, all right, you can leave now.
Yeah. Guys, this whole thing is awkward. Even choosing, they all get in a huddle and start talking. It's just very, very awkward. It's not strategic at all. It's just yeah, guys, so this is what the producers want us to do now. Let's look like we're talking and figure this out, It's everything about it is awkward, in my opinion.
Yeah, the huddle is awkward now that you say it. Yeah, it's just they're just sitting around going, so now what do we just kind of pick somebody, I guess?
You know what's the best part of this show, though? Is Matt Eisman. Matt Eisman, bless that guy, man, because he gave it his all, and he actually made it quite interesting. You could tell he was, really into it and trying so hard to make this show, something. But these guys, I don't blame them. They're competitors. They're not TV personalities. But, man, some of these guys have some super dry personalities.
Yeah. But overall, I liked it. I have to say, I'm looking forward to the next episodes, so it won't be...
well, that's one of us.
It won't take much convincing for me to complete the rest of the season, because I want to see how this goes now.
I enjoyed hate watching it, I guess is the best way to describe it. It's kind of like Spartan Race,
Moving on, because I really want to get into this National Ninja League video.
Moving on to a much better competition.
Oh my god. So Gravity Forge in Hatboro, Pennsylvania had a competition. And looking at the male competitors, we had in third place Michael Revert. Second place was Naj Richardson, which was nice to see him out. The Phoenix from was it Philly? No, he wasn't in Philly, was he? He was in Philly. Dude, I saw him in person and I don't even remember him. That's terrible.
Fail on you. But come on, let's get to it, man. Let's get to the good stuff.
Yeah, so we'll just brush over the guys. Tim Dexter, his first comp with National Ninja League, he had taken a year off. So awesome job by Tim. They had an hourglass drop like obstacle, right? It was like a drop similar to the hourglass onto a trampoline up to, it looked like a UFO. It looked like an atomic climbing holds UFO.
Yeah.
So all three guys actually went there, which doesn't matter who made it there fastest.
Yeah, hourglass drop. I mean, it's back to the first time we saw it for me, where I'm just like, I hate this obstacle so much. I wish there was a better way to dumb down the field or narrow the field, you know? This is an obstacle where the margin of error is just so small, and some of the factors of that margin of error isn't actually based on skill, I guess, and I don't know. I didn't like it, but I mean, there was at least one competitor that completed it, so I can't fully, like, hate on it being like, oh, it's so cheap, it's so this. I'm just not a big fan of it.
Yeah, it's all perspective, I guess. The course itself, other than that, looked really good. Like, there was a lot to this course. Every classic obstacle you can think of was in there, I think. There was a lot of variety. We saw what was all in there. We had the rumbling dice. We had some balance obstacles. There was one that you particularly liked. It was a
springboard into this like hanging boxing. The hell do you call
like
those?
A heavy bag.
Heavy bag, yeah. So yeah, it's like a spring into a hanging heavy bag, and it's similar to I forget the name of it, but it was on last season of American Ninja Warrior where they had two of those things, right?
I was thinking like the
TikTok. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
I was thinking it was kind of like the TikTok, as it called, or the...
Well, either way, it was pretty dope, man. I liked it.
Yeah, I liked that. I liked it, the whole course. Everything looked solid. There was no complaints. Because we've seen some really bizarre obstacles. This was all very classic, very fair obstacles that everybody should be able to complete, basically.
Mm-hmm. It was very gender, size, neutral. I appreciate a lot of things like that.
Yeah. So, speaking of, we'll move on to the women, because this is where we wanted to get in. This is the meat and potatoes. We've got Kim Winches, who missed the transfer on the double salmon ladder. Jane G, we didn't get her last name for some reason. A young, short competitor who got knocked out in the double salmon as well. And then Jesse Labreck. You're like halfway through the video and it brings up Jesse, and it's like, wow, they really left a lot of time. And no wonder. They show her crushing the course beginning to end. And I was wondering if they were building it up for a reason, and they did, because she completed the whole course. She is the only person, man or woman, to complete the entire course.
And the first woman to ever complete a National Ninja League, or, go the furthest, I guess, right? National Ninja League. And yeah, remember what I said, guys, about her. Flex Labrecque and Christy Pratt. Those are the two you want to look out for. They are going to be the two women, in my opinion, that just completely blow away the competition in these next few years. They're going to join the Jesse Graffs up there and the Megan Martins. And Jesse Flex Labrecque, man, I don't know, she is so damn good. I'm so psyched to see her again on Team Ninja Warrior and American Ninja Warrior. And, it showed a lot of, poise by the fact that when you see her do this hourglass drop that no other competitor in this entire competition was able to complete, she did it with such patience and poise. She was very, I don't know, when you look at her technique with it, it was picture perfect. She did it flawlessly, and she didn't let any of the nerves get to her doing this obstacle.
Yeah, she mentioned she gets so excited afterwards she almost let go, but she didn't. She had enough presence of mind to hang on. But just her comfort level going through the whole course is just unbelievable. Just a whole other level, which we've seen. It's an easy comparison to compare to Jesse Graff, but it does bring it to mind, right, where you see just that upper echelon there's such a dramatic difference in someone that's comfortable like Drew. The way they move through the course, it just looks like second nature, and she has that same style. I just love watching her go. Oh yeah,
I mean, it was amazing, and huge big ups to Flex Labreque. I mean, it was awesome.
All right, so if you have a chance, definitely check out that video. We'll link it in the show notes as always. Yeah, yeah. Looking forward to seeing more of her over the coming weeks. And like you said, Team Ninja Warrior. She is, I believe, one of the team captains, so that's going to be cool.
Mm-hmm. I'm just looking forward to more National Ninja League after this boot camp crap that we're going through. At least I get to see real competitions, you know.
So the last thing I wanted to cover was the Team Ninja College Madness, the Florida versus Georgia matchup. A little bit more scarce information on this one. We look at the actual rivalry between the schools. It seemed to really focus a lot on the football rivalry, which I think is probably the case for most of these. They've been playing it annually for 100 years now. It's played in a neutral location, which is kind of interesting, rather than going back and forth between the schools. So it's held in Jacksonville, Florida. It's a massive tailgating event, and it's nicknamed the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. So it's like referenced that way all over the place.
What are we talking about? What? Okay.
So the Team Ninja, the matchup, the colleges, right? This is what they're trying to play up these rivalries between the schools. So this is my big fear, man. I think they're going to try to play up the drama of these college rivalries way too much, where I doubt these competitors give two craps about it, and I dang sure know I'm not going to care about these colleges. So I hope my big fear is that they amp up too much of the college rivalries and not enough about the competitors. I really hope I'm wrong on that, but I'm starting to get this bad feeling in my stomach, man. That's because I'm doing it, because I'm trying to hype up these colleges. Now, here's the thing. So I was giving it some thought, because I was kind of worried along the same lines, but at the same time, I almost think that they're geniuses for going this route. If you look at professional sports, there's been a lot of focus. I mean, the Wolfpack's doing it. There's a lot of gyms that are opening, and we've got at least 2 national leagues trying to form. I think the colleges might be the better route to take, right? If you can get these college rivalries stoked up, where if you can legitimize it at the college level, the professional level will follow, right? So if you get the colleges competing in these sports, that brings a whole new dimension to it, and there's a passion for college rivalries. It doesn't matter what the sport is, right? They'll get out there to watch them play water polo against each other as if their team is going to win, right? At least more so than your average person. So I actually don't have too much of an issue with it if it works. But I think, like you said, I'm not going to really care all that much. I'm kind of getting into it a little more from reading up on it now. So it'll help. But yeah, for the most part, I don't know what these rivalries are, and I don't care too much. But I'd like to see them grow an audience that way.
Mm-hmm. Well, I definitely appreciate that, and I think you have a really good point in that, where maybe it's going to bring in a different type of audience, right? An audience that does appreciate the college rivalries and the college football fans and stuff like that. So maybe we're just not the audience for it, but I definitely appreciate the argument that, hey, maybe it's just not our thing, but there are people out there that can come into the sport and it opens the doors to them. I guess time will tell, right?
Yeah, well, let's say if your university was in it, would that make you want to root them on?
Yes, very much so. But I'm very special in that, right? Because it's like I also am a fan of American Ninja Warrior. I don't know if other people from my college will, go for that. But hey, there's only one way to find out. So I definitely appreciate the fact that they're trying, but I fear that they're going to go overboard with it.
Oh, no.
And if it's a thing where it's going to be some random group of 3 people competing against another random group of 3 people, but they're known by the college, it can go one of 2 ways, because there are team sports out there where it's like, I don't know the competitor or the players, but I appreciate, the rivalry. But at the same time, this sport doesn't really do well with that. I feel like when the people, it's a little bit better.
Well, I think that's going to be the hard part. And maybe I think doing it by the colleges might make it a little easier because, like you said, we're not going to have enough time to really get a good feel for these competitors, probably. Not very many of them. So using the universities and colleges to kind of narrow that down might help.
Mm-hmm. As like an entry point, yeah. If they do it right and they use the rivalry as an entry point to get to know the competitors, that's perfect. But if they go overboard, man.
Yeah, you know they're going to go
gonna be
overboard.
hard.
Like, when do they ever show any restraint?
Yeah, I know.
So anyway, looking at the University of Florida, we have Melissa Hill, Dane Brooks, and Garrison Calvin. All three rock climbers. We got a sponsored rock climbing competitor, a head coach of the UF Rock Climbing Club, and the president of the University of Florida Rock Climbing Club. And so he had climbed at the 2016 USA Climbing Collegiate National Championship in San Diego. All rock climbers, all really heavily biased towards that. But in addition, one thing that we have to note, Garrison Calvin, I actually am going to link an article about him. He was the only one I was able to find a full article about. He actually has a homemade course in his backyard, and they show him training on it and stuff. Like, this guy is a true fan.
That's good.
So that's going to give them a leg up, I think.
Yeah, that's really good, because I was worried when you said that, because they're very strong in upper body stuff. But as we saw in Team Ninja Warrior, it's a well-rounded teams that do the best, not necessarily somebody that specializes in one thing. So as long as he can make up the difference for maybe some of the obstacles that aren't upper body based, they can do well. That's a good find.
Yeah, I was really happy to find that. Whereas, totally different team. I like this matchup because it's two very different teams. University of Georgia has Doug Legg, Victoria Case, and Bradley Schleicher. So Doug is an NCAA cheerleader and rugby player. Victoria is a competitive club cheerleader. And Brad is a 4-year varsity wrestling letterman. So we've got two cheerleaders and a wrestler. Like, very, very different skill sets.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like that they're a very athletic team, but it doesn't sound like they have a lot of experience when it comes to obstacles. Whereas the other team, say what you will about rock climbing, but that is a type of obstacle, and the obstacle course might suit the rock climbers better, it sounds like. I'm curious to see how well they do, because a football player sounds super, ready to go, but put them on a balance beam, it's like, ugh, we'll see. Like those rumbling rocks, or what are those called again? The thing that knocks everybody out.
Dancing stones.
Dancing stones. I wasn't even close. Yeah, dancing stones. But hey, they're kind of like a question mark. They can go one of two ways, right? If they choose the right obstacles, they can do very well, because it does sound like they are very, very athletic. Don't sleep on cheerleaders, guys. That's actually a very hard sport to do. And the good thing about at least the two cheerleaders on the team is that they're going to have a good knowledge of their body, sort of like gymnasts.
Yeah, for sure. So, looking at the matchup, my money's on University of Florida, I have to say. The rock climbers, I think, probably have the upper hand. But like I said, there's a pretty big question mark on the other guys, especially because I couldn't find a whole lot. I saw pictures of them and stuff. They definitely look athletic. The guys look a little bigger. I'm thinking maybe it's going to be a little tough, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man. If they have that warped wall at the end, that is going to be some amazing hot mess television, I feel like. Because the warped wall, I think we get spoiled by American Ninja Warriors doing that thing and being like, oh, it doesn't look that hard. Just wait till we see people that have never done the warped wall try it. It's going to be a hot mess.
Well, even the ninja, the ones we're used to were struggling in Team Ninja Warrior, because they're just they exhausted themselves in the early parts of the course, and I think the sand might have played into it too, but it was definitely not a smooth warped wall field that we saw before.
I can't wait to see the football player try that warped wall. Oh, man. Just thinking about it. Or at least, two of my best friends are football players, and let's just say they would not do well on a warped wall. So I'm very much looking forward to that now I think about it.
All right, so that is it for this week. If you're looking to train for the upcoming season of American Ninja Warrior, or the next season of Team Ninja Warrior, and you need some climbing holds, make sure you come by our website, click on the link for Atomic Climbing Holds, use our discount code of podcast. You can save 10% off your purchase. And if you'd like to reach out to us, you can reach us at rich@ninjapodcast.com. We are at Ninja Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. And Bijan, how can they reach out to you?
Hit me up at Twitter and Instagram at Bijan151. That is Bijan151.
All right. Thank you all for listening, and I hope you have a great week.
Peace, y'all.